Well, how about that one? Iowa, the rain 2 weeks in a row, this time in Southern California. USC fighting for their college football lives. The Trojans win this game coming from behind. We'll have a complete recap of the entire Big Ten day today as we go live. Locked On Big Ten Live starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten Live. I'm Craig Shemon. Thank you for checking us out here on a Saturday going into a Sunday. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. And we are here every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, while you're here today, if you're new, hit that free subscribe button. We're this close to 25,000 subscribers. You can help us out there. That way you never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that would be great. And you can hype YouTube videos as well. So Iowa, USC, Iowa took control in the first half. USC came storming back with their postseason lives on the line. We cover every team, every game. Michigan, 5 turnovers today, and they still won against Northwestern. IU had a slow start, but the Hoosiers are still undefeated. And yeah, Ducks fans, we didn't forget you from Friday night. We're going to talk about that game, plus preview our night games here tonight as well. But coming into this game at the Coliseum with the rain. And by the way, I used to live in Los Angeles. You don't see it rain like that too often. A lot of puddling and slushiness out there. You thought the running game would be important today, and it was. USC comes storming back to win 26-21 to improve to 8-2. They're very much still in the playoff hunt now. They got to win out to do it, and they won today. Iowa, meanwhile, losing its second straight game. Their fourth one-score loss this year to fall to 6-4. But the Hawkeyes started out pretty good. I thought they'd be kind of down. Don't let a team beat you twice. That game against Oregon last week, they go out west, always tough. They look pretty sharp early on, to be honest with you. Their opening drive, 7 plays, 69 yards, scoring a touchdown. Mark Gronowski finding Dayton Howard for a 2-yard touchdown and a 7-0 lead. Then both teams go 3 and out and punt, and USC was then stopped on downs. The Iowa defense came to play. This at the 45-yard line. So Iowa, they got a key pass interference against the Trojans in the red zone at this point. Now they're down to the 13-yard line after the penalty. Jazian Patterson with a 6-yard play, first and goal to the USC 2-yard line. And then we go to the next quarter, and Iowa punches it in. And they ended up taking a 14-0 lead, capping off a 9-play drive after they got the ball on downs because of the defense before. Short field, 45 yards, 2-touchdown lead. Incredible. Offensive line for the Hawkeyes, incredible early on, especially. And by the way, they got a combined 134 starts on that offensive line. And I was surprised to learn in the broadcast after watching them all year because they had 2 holding penalties today. They had a 1 holding penalty all year. Remarkable. Very disciplined. But USC woke up and they put together an 11-play, 74-yard drive. They had the direct snap to Bryan Jackson for the 1-yard touchdown. But along the way, they lost their left tackle, Elijah Page. That is going to be a big factor moving forward. Kamari Ramsey, their safety, kind of their glue guy, like the guy that makes their defense go, he's out. People were getting banged up because it was a hard-hitting game, and the Trojans were losing some players, but they get on the scoreboard there to make it 14-7. So they can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, but not too much because Iowa comes right back with a 6-minute drive, 9 plays, 75 yards, and Mark Gronowski with a 32-yard touchdown pass to DJ Bonham on the play. I'm sorry, that wasn't the touchdown. There was a 32-yard play on the drive. Big plays on this drive. Kamari Moulton with a 16-yard run. He had another 11-yard run. And then Tim Lester, the offensive coordinator, goes to his trick plays. I mean, we don't see Iowa do trick plays. That's not a thing. They do a double reverse, and then Reese Vanderzee throws a touchdown pass to quarterback Mark Gronowski for a 5-yarder. Did you see the smirk on Kirk Ferentz's face on the sideline? I mean, he doesn't show a lot of emotion. He's a pretty stern, stoic guy, but he liked that one. He liked that. They don't run plays like that very often. Instead of Philly special, was Iowa Hawkeye special. So now they're up 21-7 with 3 minutes to go in the half. USC, the rain coming down. They got to get this ground game going. King Miller, the freshman walk-on, who has had to step up with all the injuries ahead of him. He's done a great job. There was he got a 17-yard play. Makai Lemon with an amazing 28-yard catch. He's hit in the air, brought down, lands on his head, hangs on to the ball. Was incredible. He was incredible today. But they wasted the drive. They had to settle for a field goal. Ryan Sayre with a 41-yarder. But they get points out of it. So it's 21-10. And that's how we go to the half. So Iowa up with an 11-point lead at the half. They usually don't blow 11-point halftime leads. They did today. Coming out into the second half, USC had a 9-yard drive. It stalled in the rain. It's really getting sloppy out there at this point. They have to settle for another short field goal. They get it, a 28-yarder. So now it's 21-13. They're within a score. It's a one-score game, and then Iowa punted the ball right back. Again, Makai Lemon now doing Makai Lemon things with USC's next drive. Isn't he amazing? He's absolutely just one of the best receivers in the country. Fingertip over the shoulder, over the middle of the field. Catches one for 35 yards. They got lucky there because King Miller fumbled the ball there for a moment, but Makai Lemon diving in there to recover it. Jade Maava was under pressure, finds Jacoby Lane in traffic for a first down. That was an amazing play all the way around. And at this point, I was looking at Maava. Maybe you agree with me. He just looked, he was so calm and chill in the pocket. In fact, it was basically flat-footed, just kind of looking around where to throw the ball. Just wasn't fazed at all by the situation. Really cool under pressure. And then he found, guess who? Makai Lemon for 12 yards on the touchdown, and it made it 21-19. Now they're going to go for 2 here to try and tie it. And Maava zipped one past Lemon. It was incomplete. They didn't get it. It was too hot right over him. So with 3 minutes and 33 seconds to go in the third quarter, though, Makai Lemon at this point has 8 catches for 139 yards and a touchdown, and USC is within a couple of points. The rain stopped for a moment, believe it or not, at this point. And this is when Iowa's getting the ball. Kamari Moulton getting a first down. USC, by the way, on third down, got away with a face mask, right? Would have been a first down on that play. And then there was that backward deflection that got kicked back, and it ended up being intercepted by a freshman from USC at the Iowa 40. That was a backbreaker. Think about had that face mask been called, who knows what would have happened. Maybe they still would have thrown an interception on the next play. You never know. But USC takes advantage of a pass interference. They're down to the Iowa 14-yard line. Now the rain picks back up, back to the ground game. Bryan Jackson, 1-yard touchdown, capping off a 6-play drive, and USC takes its first lead of the game, 26-21. We're early in the fourth quarter, but at this point, you do all the math. Since USC fell behind, USC then outscored Iowa 26-7 since 9 minutes to go in the second quarter to take the lead, and a lead that would be the final score the rest of the way. A lot of key plays back and forth, but what a great win for the USC Trojans. And did you see the celebration at the end by Lincoln Riley? Looked like he had just won the Super Bowl. A lot of pressure on him to get this team to the playoffs. They are still very much alive. I would love to get your comments from USC fans, Iowa fans. Another tough day. We're going to get to all of that in just a minute. And we can't wait for next week's game. USC taking on Oregon. More playoff implications. It could be a playoff elimination game. It could be a game that allows both of them to get to the playoffs. It's insane. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to go live after that game. We don't have the TV network times or the networks yet, but once that is announced, we're going to go live. I'll tell you next Saturday after that game, USC and Oregon. That's the big one. Penn State has just won 28-10 over Michigan State. That game was a grinder at first. Michigan State came ready to play. Penn State gets its first win of the Big Ten season so far this year. So they're 4-6, but their first win of the Big Ten. Michigan State falls to 3-7. And just a crazy game there. You know, this game was Penn State up 14-10 at the half. And then it was scoreless in the third quarter. All they did was punt. Both teams had 4 possessions, 2 each, both punted. And then Ethan Grunkemeyer had a touchdown pass, and then Katron Allen a 26-yard touchdown to put them up 28-10. Allen had a couple of big plays earlier in the game as well. So Penn State gets a win. Here we are, mid-November. Who would have figured? 28-10. And there was another afternoon game as well, late afternoon game, Maryland and Illinois, and that was 24-6 with about 4 minutes to go. And it was right as we were coming live here on the airwaves with our live podcast. I just want to do a double check. It's 2 minutes to go. 24-6 is the final score there, it's not the final score. 2 minutes to go. If Maryland loses this game, that's 6 straight losses and another big win for the Fighting Illini. I know Luke Altmaier has had a couple of touchdown throws to Hudson Clement in that game as well. One of them that put him up 21-6 to take control of that game. We'll have more on the Illinois win and the Penn State win in our Monday recap podcast as well. But we're going to talk about the USC win against Iowa. We still have the afternoon games I want to get to from the early noon games where Indiana overcame a slow start to remain perfect, and Michigan tried to turn over the game to Northwestern with 5 turnovers at Wrigley Field and still won and still kept their playoff hopes alive. Remarkable day around the Big Ten today. We'll recap it all. We'll take a look at week 13 next week already, and we'll get to your live comments, all that coming up in just 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten Live. You know, it's the weekend here, and it's time to crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Got a handful. I mean, Makai Lemon just kept delivering for USC. Fernando Mendoza, 4 more touchdowns for him today. Only two incomplete passes, but 4 touchdown passes. Even on the losing side, you talk about putting DoorDash streaks together. Mark Gronowski at Iowa scored a rushing touchdown. He's the only player in the country to have a rushing touchdown every week of the season. All these guys deliver when it matters, just like DoorDash. So you save on your Saturday orders with DoorDash. Stack them up every Saturday, and you can win up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. So order before the Saturday is up here today and keep your streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period good through November 18th. All that with DoorDash. So check out DoorDash today and keep your streaks alive. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten Live on a Saturday night going into a Sunday with a complete recap of all things Big Ten today. And I want to thank you for making the Locked On Network, the Locked On #1 sports podcast network in America, especially you everydayers out there. Thank you very much for checking us out. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button if you're brand new, and share, follow, and like. Tell a friend about us that we're out here with a little share arrow. Hey, see what these guys are doing? Talking Big Ten every single day. So the number 2 ranked Indiana Hoosiers, they beat Wisconsin today, 31-7, to go 11-0 for the first time in school history, 8-0 in the Big Ten. Wisconsin falls to 3-7. This game was 10-7 at the half. Wisconsin came to play. And the Hoosiers defense, though, on the day held Wisconsin to just 23 yards in the second half, 8 tackles for loss and an interception. Basically, Kurt Cignetti read them the riot act in the locker room at halftime, and they came out and played. They didn't do some things well in the first half. You got to give Wisconsin some credit there a little bit. But Heisman candidate, IU quarterback Fernando Mendoza, completed 92% of his passes today, 299 yards and 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns and only 2 incompletions all day. And as I said, Indiana improved to 11-0. The Hoosiers have won 15 in a row at home for the first time ever. Mendoza threw his school record 30th touchdown pass of the season on a 5-yarder to last week's hero against Penn State, wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. It was not an easy day for Mendoza, even though it sounded like it with the stats. He was sacked 5 times today. Wisconsin brought some pretty good pressure. Now, the Badgers have lost to 5 ranked teams this year. They've had a brutal schedule, and they've not beaten a top 10 team since 2019. But I want to note here, Luke Fickell's biggest problem, in my opinion, has been in his almost 3-year tenure now, he can't get quarterback right. He's just mowing through quarterbacks left and right. Constant misses in the transfer portal. However, They may have their quarterback of the future here that's made his first career start today. Freshman quarterback Carter Smith out of Bishop Verot in Fort Myers, and a former Michigan commit, by the way, made his first career start. Now, his numbers will not dazzle you. He was 9 of 15 for 98 yards, had a 45-yard touchdown pass to Lance Mason. But if you watch him with the eyeball test that we like to talk about, there's some there. And again, he's a brand new freshman. You got to cut him some slack. He looks like the part. Maybe they finally got themselves a quarterback. Meanwhile, Indiana off to a bye week now. Time to get healed up. They did not have Elijah Surratt in this game. And then they close out at Purdue in 2 weeks. And then presumably the Big Ten championship game, presumably against Ohio State, maybe. Michigan still trying to make a playoff run, ranked 18th in the country. They tried to lose this game to Northwestern at Wrigley Field. It was a beautiful day, Wrigley Field. The whole thing was cool. Michigan wins the game 24-22. I've told you all week, Michigan's got to run the table. They got to win this game. They got to beat Maryland, and then they got to beat number 1 Ohio State. If they do that, I think they get into the playoffs. But if they play like they did today, they won't do that. They do improve to 8-2. That's a pretty good record. Northwestern 5-5. Even out at Wrigley Field today, they sang "Take Me Out" to the ball game like they do at Cubs games out there. That was kind of right in between the third and the fourth quarter. That was cool. I told you on Friday during our Pigskin Picks, I said that this game would be similar to the Wolverines game against Purdue. Remember that a couple weeks ago? Purdue came into the big house, and it was kind of a grinder, 21-16 game. This game was 21-16 Michigan in the fourth quarter. And then Bryce Underwood played some of his worst football. He threw an interception with 12 minutes to go. It was returned to the 6. It was the third of Michigan's 5 turnovers on the day. Caleb Komolafe, a player we love talking about here from Northwestern, ran it in from 6 yards out. Northwestern had its first lead of the day at 22-21 with 12 minutes to go. Then Jordan Marshall, who's in for Justice Haynes, who's been hurt, the running back for Michigan, 19 carries, 142 yards and 2 touchdowns, had a big run here, and he landed on his shoulder, and he was out for the game, and it looked pretty painful. Looked like a PC joint situation. So he's out. So now with the game on the line, Michigan trailing on the road, they got to rely on a walk-on running back, Bryson Kutzel, and also another true freshman, Jasper Parker. And then what happens? Bryce Underwood throws another interception to Robert Fitzgerald. Absolutely misread an RPO situation. And now Michigan has 4 turnovers at this point. And they've missed 2 field goals on the day. 9 minutes to go. But the defense stiffens up, forces Northwestern into a punt. Michigan in a situation, 4th and 1 from the 23. It's like, all right, you kick a field goal. Well, Sharon Moore's thinking we've missed 2 field goals today. My quarterback's thrown a couple of interceptions. He decides to go for it. They get stuffed. Not only get stuffed, they fumble the ball away. Their 5th turnover of the day. Just a bad exchange. Quarterback, running back exchange. Again, the Michigan defense forces Northwestern to punt. And now Michigan has the ball. 3 timeouts left. A little more than 2 minutes to go at their own 38. It's crunch time. By the way, Andrew Marsh today for Michigan, phenomenal. They hit him here with a nice throw and catch on the left sideline for a 21-yard gain. He's got 12 catches, 189 yards. So this gets him to the 42-yard line. Then there's an Underwood scramble for 9 yards on a 3rd down, 3rd and 5. He gets 9. That was a good play. That was a good play by him. He gets the first down. They're kind of keeping things conservative, pushing the ball forward, being Michigan football with the offensive line. And then they put Dominic Zaveda out there, who's missed the field goals from 34 and 60, and never a doubt kicked one right down the middle with no time left. A walk-off field goal win for Michigan on the 31-yard attempt, 24-22. Northwestern played its hearts out. That was a hard-hitting football game, but Michigan's playoff lives still alive. Survive and advance at Maryland next week. And Oregon fan, we can't forget about you guys. All right, Friday night. If you guys miss this offensive display, number 8, Oregon, 42-13 over Minnesota. Oregon, 9-1. Minnesota, 6-4. Ducks quarterback Dante Moore threw 2 touchdowns freshman running back Jordan Davison, just running just with power, running for another couple of touchdowns at 57 yards on 7 carries on the day. Moore was almost perfect on the day. I told you about Fernando Mendoza's completion percentage today. Moore also red hot, 27 of 30. Do the math. That's 90%. For 306 yards. His 90% completion rate is the single game school record for Oregon. Think about the quarterbacks that have played there. Justin Herbert, Marcus Mariota, Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, high completion guys. Kenya Sadiq back into the lineup this week after missing last week. 8 catches, 96 yards, and a score. Wide receiver DeCorian Moore still out with a knee. Wide receiver Gary Bryant Jr. still out after suffering a foot injury against Iowa last week. But the Ducks made up for it. Next man up. They had 9 players catch at least 2 balls with double digits in yardage in an effort to step up. And the Ducks defense held the Gophers to just 62 yards rushing. The Ducks defense was number 3 in the country in total defense going into the weekend. I don't know if you knew that or not. Gophers coming off a bye, and Darius Taylor, their running back, just 10 carries, 57 yards. Caught 4 passes for 40 yards. That was about all they can get going. The Ducks got that huge showdown coming up now against USC next week. That is the game. Again, we're going to go live with USC and the Ducks next Saturday. Right now, as we speak, Purdue is out west taking on Washington on FS1. Purdue coming off their loss to Ohio State. They've really struggled this year. Washington coming off the surprise loss to Wisconsin last week. Washington banged up this week with Jonah Coleman with a knee, Denzel Boston with an ankle. Just a few. This team's really going to have to rely on Damon Williams for sure. And then just getting ready to kick off in a few minutes. UCLA is at number 1 Ohio State on NBC, the game of the week. USC had a bit of a resurgence with a 3-game winning streak after firing Deshaun Foster. Then they got blown out by Indiana a couple weeks ago. Then they had their bye week. They go from number 2 Indiana, bye week, number 1 Ohio State. That's a tough schedule. Sidebar, this is the return of Nico Iamaleava. The last time he was in the stadium was during the playoffs when he played for Tennessee. Probably bad memories for him. As far as the Buckeyes are concerned, Julian Sayin also, completing north of 80% of his passes. It seems like every week it's 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. We'll see if he does that again tonight against UCLA. He is in the Heisman mix with Fernando Mendoza for sure. So, also, I didn't right up to game time. Carnell Tate, we'll see if he plays tonight. He did not. He was held out at the last minute last week against Purdue. That could be big for the Buckeyes, but they got Jeremiah Smith, so they're in good shape. And congratulations to all you Buckeye fans. You got a nighttime home game under the lights, national TV. It's a rarity for the Buckeyes because they usually get picked for the earlier network games on TV. All right, let's take a peek and some of the live comments going on because we always like to interact back and forth to see what's on your mind. A lot of Trojan fans on here. I see a lot of fight on. Everybody good to go. Some people have problems with the officiating here. Again, the officials did miss a blatant face mask committed by USC against Iowa. I don't know if it would have made a difference or not in the long run, but we'll see. Richard wants to see how USC will do at the line of scrimmage against Oregon. That's the big one this week. That's the one we're all looking for. So Carl says Underwood is great. Well, no, not today. No, he wasn't. Let's see here. Richard also saying, are you going to bet on USC next week at Autzen Stadium? That place is dangerous. Absolutely it is. Hey, I see some Alabama fans infiltrating us with their Oklahoma game today. That's okay. All are welcome. Roy says USC looks like to me a playoff team. They've got the elements. They got a running game. They have wide receivers. They got a quarterback. It always is going to come down to their defense and what they can do. I think they, if there's no rain and it's perfect conditions, they can play offense with anybody out there. There's another one saying Bert checking in that stadium next weekend is going to be insane at Autzen Stadium. We can't wait. All right. Here's somebody looking for the game against the team up north. That's an Ohio State fan checking in with his opinion already. All right. So, okay. Some of you are saying, all right, this is good. So is Nico still out with concussion protocol? So he won't be playing now. Okay. That's some big news. A story that was developing throughout the week, and that looks like the case here right at kickoff. Not going to play tonight for USC. All right. So the Trojans with the big win. That's the big story of the day. So the Trojans and Michigan still alive in the playoffs. That'll definitely wrap it up for Iowa. So again, the big question is, how many teams does the Big Ten get into the playoffs? We got Indiana and Ohio State. They're in. Oregon's probably in. The question will be, will Oregon still get in if they lose to USC, and USC will get in if they beat Oregon next week. And then there's Michigan with their path as well. We're trying to get 4 Big Ten teams into the playoffs. As of today, it looks like it might be 3 if USC and Oregon knock each other out. Be very, very interesting. All right, we'll take a quick peek ahead to next week, week 13, if you can believe it, as we continue here on Locked On Big Ten Live. Hey, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand with you, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score to fourth quarter comebacks. You can parlay them with your pregame bets as well. Every game is exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet. So head to FanDuel.com and sign up and play your game with FanDuel.com. FanDuel, check them out at FanDuel.com, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, thanks for checking us out here live on Locked On Big Ten Live as we go into Saturday night, Sunday morning. With a complete recap of everything going on in the Big Ten. This upcoming week, Rutgers is at Ohio State. I already told you, the USC-Oregon game, that's the one we're going to go live. Later in the week, we'll put out all the kickoff times and the networks that are involved. And then they'll decide what time we're going live with that after that. Michigan is at Maryland. Bryce Underwood versus Malik Washington, freshman quarterback matchup. Michigan State at Iowa. Both teams coming off a loss. Nebraska is at Penn State. Remember, this was going to be Matt Rule's homecoming game, if you will, but he got his contract extension, so he's an alum of Penn State. Minnesota's at Northwestern, Washington at UCLA, and Illinois at Wisconsin. We will be here to cover it all week long, everything going on, previewing all these games, all the big storylines that are out there. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in live. We love going live here on a Saturday, so thanks for being part of all of that as well. And we're here every day with the latest news, analysis, and opinion on all 18 Big Ten teams. Hit that subscribe button before you go. And we're this close to 25,000. Put us over the edge if you can. And share, follow, and like. Let your friends know we're out here each and every day. Don't forget, Locked On has the college football kickoff every Thursday with Drake Toll and Gary Patterson and Jesse Holly and our Locked On experts. Our football preview every Thursday, only on Fire TV. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll be back with more podcasts on Monday, recapping the entire weekend. Thanks for checking us out here today for Locked On Big Ten Live. I'm Craig Shemon. We'll see you next time.